Minister of Information, following during a meeting, in fact, that was held with some stakeholders, key stakeholders regarding the census, asking the LBS to avail our platform to launch this program called Census Hour. So this program will be on every Monday, 9 to 10, and Wednesday and Friday as well. We'll have the Census Hour. Basically, to just provide you information that you need to know about the census. But so let's begin with Justina. She's from Lisges. She has all the information. Justina, we all aware that we didn't start on a good note. Very, very rocky. In fact, that resulted into the sacking of two of your bosses. So where are we now?
Okay, so yes, thank you very much, Sobo. Yes, of course, the reality is there that indeed we did not start on a good note. But however, the process is on. As we speak, we have our enumerators on the field. They are now going ahead with the process that is doing the household listing. At the same time, they are enumerating those households. So when we say household listing is that when they are deployed, when the enumerators are all deployed into their enumeration areas, the houses within that enumeration areas, they are to list the number of houses that are found within the area that they are supposed to work. They are not supposed to work outside of their enumeration area. So every enumerator is supposed to work within area that they are assigned. So there they are going to be listing those houses, and after that they will be doing the actual count, that is counting, that is asking questions to the household. They will go to the household head. They are going to ask questions as to how many persons live in the house, as to where they spend the night, and they will be asking about their health. They will be asking about their educational status, marital status. They're going to be asking about their age, and so many other questions. So basically, right now, we have the people are there on the field, and the work is gradually moving on.
So you are saying to us that all of the enumerators have been deployed.
For other counties, yes, but in Monserrado, it's still we are still doing deployment in Monserrado. You know that Monserrado is very big. It's a very big county.
But if you can complete your deployment in Lufa, and Monserrado shouldn't be an exception.
No, you can't compare those other counties with Monserrado. Monserrado is always is a county that has so many hiccups when it comes to these kind of activities, right? So we are still doing a deployment, and people are on the field. We just have few places that we get to assign enumerators, but gradually before the end of day to tomorrow, I'm sure these places will be deployed.
Okay, okay. So we'll come back to you, Justina. Let's hear from Mr. David Colette. He's the Assistant Minister for Technical Services at MICAT. That's the Ministry of Cultural Affairs and Tourism. Like I said, there was a meeting held last week, Friday, and that meeting was chaired by the board chair of LBS. That's the Minister of Information, and he asked that LBS at least avail its platform every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, to launch this census hour. So, based on that, we consented because it's a national duty. But Dave, where is your role? How are you involved with the whole Lisges communication strategy?
Thank you, Soba. Thank you to our listening audience. The census is a national endeavor. The country, we've had census in 2008, and we were supposed to have census in 2018. That should be for every 10 years. Because of some challenges, we could not have census in 2018. Therefore, the government of Liberia and partners, the UNFPA, the World Bank, and all of our stakeholders thought that we should have census, because the purpose of the census is to inform our development partners to inform the government on how to distribute, our national wealth, and distribute services, distribute, educational related, service to the country. And so when we know the population in each area, when we know the kind of people in each area, that will inform all of these. So, like Justina said, the census had a slow start, and the work is currently ongoing. The challenges that the census faced from the beginning are already being worked on. The technical team is committed to continue to work on all of the challenges we face, but those challenges are worked on. So from a national perspective, the Ministry of Information is working with the Liberia Institute of Statistics and Geoinformation Services to ensure we give them communication support, to ensure that we work with the Liberia Crusaders for Peace and all of the stakeholders that will be involved with community outreach, with community engagement, to kind of give them that kind of support that they will need.
Okay.
So my role on the team is to aid and to support Madam Justina Page, who is the communication director, and also to aid and to support the executive director of the Liberia Crusaders for Peace.
Now, what's your involvement on the whole communication aspect of the census? Do we have a full plan as to what's going to happen and how you're going to get the message out?
Definitely, we have a roadmap. It's a framework. We are going to work with different stakeholders. The census communication team we have two components.
Okay.
One of which is the community engagement and social mobilization aspect of that component. That component is strictly with the Liberia Crusaders for Peace, which has had more than 29 years of strong service and strong track record into community mobilization and social engagement. So the Liberia Crusaders for Peace is doing that. Okay. The Ministry of Information and the Liberia Institute of Statistics and Geoinformation Services communication team, along with the UNFPA, we are working together on media engagement and the press. So we have. So we're going to be working with different members of the community in different areas. Our engagement are holistic, however, but we are moving the same direction.
Okay, we'll come back to ask as to how are you going to do your media engagement, whether it's going to be regular or whether you're just going to appear on the radio station and talk about the census and that's it, or whether you're going to regularize it. But let's hear from the social mobilizer, Liberia's cultural ambassador, Judy Andy. Madam Andy, again, welcome.
Thank you, Soba. Thank you, and thanks to my colleague Justina. Thanks to the Minister from Information, Minister Kule, and I'm happy to be here. And I thank God for grace and favor to give me the strength to be here. But first, I just want to say my apology to everyone that feel the start of the census was very slow, and then we have some missteps. We take full responsibility, and then we move forward to a better start. And then in a national interest, as patriotic citizens of Liberia, we want to apologize because anything in our culture that start rough, it can end good. And at the end of the day, it will end good.
Okay, thank you for the apology. But let's take you into 2008, Madam Andy. We know in 2008 you were very involved working with Legis's communication team. In fact, I can remember we had these interactions on several occasions. I was always at your office and all of that, trying to ensure that the message gets out. Now, where are you now with this current census?
Well, thanks. Let me say thank you to Legis and Dr. Edward Liberty that I work with, even Dr. Rare that I worked with in the past, and Joey Kennedy and Vivian Holmes and all of that. And it is from that experience in 2008 that census was very successful. And it is that experience as a lessons learned that we are now, collaborating with the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism and Religious Communication team to look at the communication strategy of Legis and then make our own, bring in our own input. So right now we have a team. Before it was legis and before it was information, now we have a team. And there is no I in a team. So the team now have looked at the roadmap, and we've seen what the plan with the roadmap, and we've been executing that. But it is not going to be an event, it's a process, and the process is leading to community engagement, community outreach, media monitoring, risk communication, just looking at, first in this instant, what is the risk? The risk is if we don't have quality data, we are not going to have the quality result of the census. It's a risk. How do we now take that and bring it to an action taken? The action taken now will be stand up and be counted. And that's why we are asking our people in the national interest that the census, if we are counted and then we have quality data that can show us the population of our country, then it brings us to more of a national development. Then we can now decide that the plan of the government is, decision making. They got to do with education and health and sanitation. Then you come to labor, you come to demographic and geographic. So all of these things will inform us based on the census data, because that's how the census data will be used. And then you have schools, you have roads, and then you have hospitals and all of that. And of course, within your area, for example, if you had like 7 districts and now your population is huge, and in this area can now become maybe a district, and then you have more representation at the national legislature. So this is actually void of politics. It's more of a national and a patriotic duty to stand up and be counted, so the growth of our population can bring us the needed result.
Okay.
So what we have done as Crusaders for Peace, when we were called upon this time around.
Before you talk about what we've done, I want you to give us an idea, Madam Andy. In 2008, again, like I said, you were involved with the census. How did you do it that resulted into the successes that we had, and before we come to where we are now?
Well, there was at 2008 there was a steering committee on for legis, in terms of the population housing, national population housing census. And so Crusaders for Peace was hired to work along with the communication team headed by Joey Kennedy, so that we can be able to communicate to our people, depending on whichever channel that is being used. So we were charged with the responsibility of social mobilization, community engagement, and outreach. And we worked very closely with the Legis team. We developed the jingles, the drama, the community, the branding, visibility, the outreach, the town hall meetings, and we were doing that in the 15 political subdivision of Liberia.
Across the entire country.
Across the entire country. So our volunteers are already in the counties, and our volunteers.
You didn't deploy people there at the time.
No, but they're already there. So you're not moving people there. You are looking for influential communicators and mobilizer within their locale that the people already know. So you're not bringing people there. So what we did was we just did a refresher training and giving the messages of what are the benefits, when they can counted, what are the dates, and then the song and the jingles. Then using our own vernaculars. So we developed it into 16 vernaculars at the time. But this time we are doing 17 vernaculars because we are adding Sapo to it. So the 17 vernacular is to explain to them the importance of the census, why it is important to us, and why people should take this step to stand out and be counted. So all of those things. Then we need the branding of visibility of T-shirts and all of that. But our concentration is actually on the engagement aspect with a very good community entry.
This one now.
2008, and that's the same experience that was successful. We're not reinventing the wheels. We are using the same old experience that we had that made the census successful. We are bringing it into this strategy to make sure we engage. So at this present time, we have engaged the main stakeholders like the Council of Churches. They even though people have their, they express their dissatisfaction on how we are coming to them late, but you know, it is better done than never done.
Never, yeah, sure.
Yeah, so we've met with the stakeholders, the Council of Churches, the Imam Council, the Muslim, the traditional leaders, you know, people with disability, the commission, we've met with them, we've met with the Federation of Liberian Youth, we've met with LINSU, we've met with the Women WIPNET, we've met with of women organizations and all of that, and then other people. If I don't mention your name, don't get mad at me. We met with the Musicians Union of Liberia, and so we've engaged these stakeholders and marketing association, you know, people from the transport union. So the engagement is to let them know that this is your business. It's everybody's business. So you take the lead in your locale. For example, if you carry a puppet announcement, you write the puppet announcement, you carry it to a pastor and say, read it. You're not making any sense. But if the pastor is involved, working with you from the beginning to the end, then the pastor now will take it in ownership. So what we have done is to make sure the council of churches deal with the people, the traditional leaders, the Imam Council. So we had the meeting and we trash out everything and say, okay, it's okay now. So everybody, bam, 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 we are on board. Okay. So we also have to do, you know, a pre-testing of the messages, because we cannot do a creative brief without a pre-test. So once we put the message out, when we did a pre-test and the people say yes, the message resonate, then we take the message back. Now we are going to give it to the community radio stations, national radio station, and they can now play in terms of.
So have you done the pre-testing already?
Yes,
okay.
And then we have the pre-testing result. So we have that information now. The report of the pre-testing now is going to go out there. Now
how soon are you going to do that?
It's already done. It's like communication team today. So we have done our part as strategists in terms of community engagement and outreach and production and all of that. It is now the communication team in terms of media that will take it to the various radio stations and all of that. Now you got to look at this is that we're talking about donors' money. Before you can now take it and give it to someone, you need to have a contractual agreement, and that agreement is an MOU signed between the primary contractor and those contractors that are just, you know, there, that is subcontractors. So with you, our contract with Legis, then the community radio contract with me. So with the MOU, once that MOU is signed, it means that it's legit, your money will be paid. Now we can now decide on the medium of payment, whether it is through mobile money or through check, depending on what banks you have in your area, because we're talking community radios. So those are the modalities that I told you. I say it's not an event, it's a process. At the end of the day, it's all going to help us to have quality data. Even if you go to the enumerators and they are doing all the scientific work, which I don't want to go there because I'm not there. So I'm speaking from a community perspective. We still need to be able to interpret the greatness of the data that will be sent. So we're going to continue this up to next year. We're not just going to do a communication strategy and once the enumerators are deployed, we are finished. We are going to follow it and do a visit to make sure that all of those houses are marked. So when we say value added, if you give us the resources, how did we spend these resources? Did we spend it in line because the enumerator got the people got the message and they were available to be counted? It's a communication issue. So we need to continue that process up to next year. So it's not just an event here. And then as we go along, it's going to unfold on be counted. It's also going to be a fold that we are checking to see whether your horse is marked or you will miss, and there's missed opportunity. And then we're also going to be doing media monitoring in terms of the rumors that will come out, whether it's negative or positive, because right now as we speak, you have positive and negative gatekeepers.
So you have a whole load on your head. But let's hear from you and okay, let's hear from you, Mr. Minister. She just indicated to us that the pre-testing has been done. You spoke about media engagement. I'm sure it's part of that. Definitely. How soon do we hear the messages on the radio?
Beginning today, the messages have already been approved.
Okay.
By the technical steering committee of Legis and all of the actors. So messages are going to go to the radio stations today. And aside from the messages, we're also going to be having announcement in the newspapers. We're going to go to local newspapers. We're going to use community radio stations, 43 community radio stations.
43.
43 community radio stations all across the
Who
country.
will they sign the agreement with?
They're going to sign an agreement with the primary contractor, which is
Okay.
the Labrador Crusaders of Peace.
Labrador, okay.
The problem is, one of the challenges the census faced with was with payment.
Okay.
And that payment was a technical problem because the procurement process with our international partners is a very rigid process. And so, coming close to the date of the census, it became a challenge to meet all of the procurement regiments, to be able to commence the census. We do not want that with the communication, our community engagement and communication. So we have someone who's been tested over the last 29 years, who's got the expertise in community mobilization, community engagement, social mobilization, who's sitting at the table and who's ready to roll. So aside from the 43 community radio stations, we're going to be engaging 15 national radio stations. All of the radio stations you hear around Monrovia, and beyond Monrovia are going to be part of the process. We're going to take jingles, synchronized messages to our people to be counted, because the counting process, the enumeration process is not a political process. Every politician is going to benefit from this. The roads you see, the counting will determine the kind of road that goes to your community.
Okay.
The counting will determine the kind of hospital that goes to your community. The counting is going to determine the kind of infrastructure you have in your community. The counting will tell us whether people got internet, for instance, in Grand Crew. The counting will tell us whether people are using television in Grand Crew. The kind of electricity we should supply to Grand Crew. The counting process is very significant because the questionnaires are social development questionnaires. What do you do? How do you cook? Do you have refrigerator? Do you have television? Those kinds of questions will inform. For instance, we are struggling with power, right? And so the Ivorians we've signed an agreement with the Ivorians for 27 megawatts additional power. How do we distribute this power will determine the population size in the area. So this counting process, this census process is a development initiative for all Liberians. So we are going, one, with community radio stations, we are going with national radio stations, we are going with newspapers, we are going with social influencers, we are going with eminent citizens, pastors, leaders, political actors, political leaders. As a matter of fact, Madam Indy has already begun the process for the eminent citizens. We are going to get all of those messages to play on the radios across the country. So I like to assure our people, I like to assure all of us that the census is well on course and the census data will be delivered.
Now, how do you respond to some of our politicians? In fact, who initially were trying to discourage our people, welcoming or embracing the enumerators when they visit their home. There were some of our politicians, opposition, who said that the census was a flop. How do you respond to them?
First of all, I'd like to thank Ambassador Joseph Juma Boakai, the political leader of the Unity Party. I saw on his Facebook page where he raised the census and called on the citizens to turn out to ensure that they are counted. Also, some political actors have been young lady Kanga Lawrence from Grand Bassa County. I saw also on her social media page. So I do not think that political actors who are speaking against the census understand the benefit that is going to incur, is going to come back,
Okay.
to them or come back to the country.
You don't think they understand?
I don't think they understand. If they understood, like some of the key political leaders, they would not say what to say. But most of the political leaders, all of us around the table, agree now that this census is important for the country because it is a roadmap to developing throughout the country.
Now let's go to. Let me come to you, Justina. I know bulk of what's supposed to be done, especially trying to actualize whatever the communication plan that has been put together, has been carved. To actualize it, it will be as a result of whatever the financial potency or capability of legislature. Do we have the resources now available to ensure that we roll out the communication plan and all of that, the programs?
Yes, we do have the resources, but like my colleagues have said across the table, we need to have those documents to work with. And of course, our problem has always been documentation and procurement processes. But now that we have the Crusader for Peace on board, who has all of her legal documentations, now we can work, because at first we were working with individuals, radio stations, and sometimes we have problem with documentation. Most times the procurement process has request for quotation, we refer to RFQ, right? You have to request for quotations. And to do that, you have to have your business registration, you have to have tax clearances and all of those things. And once you don't have these documentations, payment becomes a problem, right? So these things we've been having this kind of problem. That's the reason why some of them have not been paid and all of that. So going back to them with these programs like jingles and things, it became a problem for us, right? Some of them they didn't want to work with us because of those issues. They don't have those legal documentations, and then our partners cannot pay without legal documentations.
Okay.
But gracefully and gratefully, we are happy now that we are on course. We have the Crusader for Peace on board, and then moving forward, I show that payment issue will be okay.
Now, let me go back before I come to Judy. Mr. Minister, I heard you talking about community radio stations and other media institutions, but I didn't hear you talking about talk show hosts, who are very important.
Definitely.
That's a good one.
Yeah, definitely. We are also working with talk show hosts.
Okay.
The talk show hosts are important. I always told people that the talk show hosts drive our national agenda. They set the stage for where we go as a country and where we go as a people. The debate you hear on the radio stations in the morning, you hear those debates in the taxi, you hear those debates in the marketplaces, you hear those debates in hospitals and all across the country. Where the population is stationed, the radio station reach there. So up to today, about 95% of our people listen to radio. So the talk show hosts are definitely a part of our plan. We are also engaging them. We are also engaging social media influencers who are also very important. Some people have like 9 million followers, 5 million followers. They have so our announcement are also going to go to them. They're going to have the announcements on their pages. We're going to have the jingles on their pages. You're going to hear. It's going to be a rollout. It's going to be a full blast. Then beginning today, we the Liberia Crusaders for Peace mobilizers are going to get the ground running. They've been putting some materials together. They're going to get t-shirts to go to the community for visibility purposes. You're going to see them, some of them at intersections, giving flyers out to encourage people to be counted. A lot is going to happen today. Radio station leaders and owners and CEOs, we're going to have meetings with them. She's already commenced that with the other stakeholders. We are also going to do that with them. So the process is on. We just want to assure our people that this process is not a political process. This process is a development process. Let us embrace it.
Okay, now let me come back to you before I go back to Madam Andy. Are you in constant contact with your directors in the various counties, and what's the status of things now?
Okay, so yes, we have a technical team, right? So basically, I'm not the one communicating directly with them. We have this technical team set at Licious that communicate with them and give the data. We have the dashboard there at Licious that the data is coming in real time. So we have some of the county directors there that have deployed in full. We have Maryland, we have Grand Gilead, we have Sino County, Grand Crew County. All of those counties have deployed in full, and it's going ahead with the enumeration, with the actual enumeration. So if you were opportune to go at Licious today and check on our dashboard, you will see the number of data that are coming in real time.
I hope you can send me that numbers quickly, because I got to talk to some of your county directors to ask them as to how is the process faring in the county. So I hope I can get the numbers. My producer will be able to get the numbers from you, so we can talk to them before we close up this program. Now, Madam Andy, I heard the minister saying that you'll be going to hit the ground running today. How set are you?
Oh, that's over. I told you, I said the first engagement was an advocacy piece that we did with the with the Council of Churches, the traditional
All
leaders,
those,
all those we've already done
major
that.
stakeholders.
Then we've already have major training with our supervisors and mobilizers, and they are going to now give that to the communicators, and then we're going to have the ground rolling. But we're going to have the PA, the mobile moving stage in the community starting today,
Okay.
and then
Which communities are you visiting today?
well, you see, that's why I say there's no I in a team. If I sit here and say I am going to community A, I would just be lying to you. So what the
So you don't have a full roadmap that you
No,
following, Madam Andy?
no, I'm
The
I'm
team has
no,
a
excuse
roadmap.
me, I'm an administrator.
Okay, Madam.
And I'm just giving you information that I know that I'm very much aware of. So let's say a mobile moving stage, you cannot tell me that, because a mobile moving stage is that you are moving.
Okay.
So you might even go from
From one
Mama
community to
Point
another, okay.
all the way to red light. So you think, what time do we have on this thing for me to tell you, say, at about 10 o'clock they will be to Mama Point, or they will be to red light, or they will be to Todi.
So which of the community first do we will see them?
I know that our team is starting from Mount Barkley. I know there's one team from Mount Barkley, and I know one team starting from the Capital Bypass.
So you set up the teams already?
Yes, I just told you.
How many?
The hardest thing that I'm talking about mobile moving stage.
Yeah, how many
So
of
the
that?
mobile moving stage in Montserrat will be 3, in the other counties will be 1. Because the mobile is just playing the jingles and giving away flyers.
Okay.
So that will be done, in the city or so. So then, but the communicators, at this point, we are going to have 1,420 communicators. And then we're going to have mobilizers, and then monitors, then supervisors. Of course, we have 15 counties. So in each county, you have a supervisor and assistant supervisor. Then you have the monitors, and then the independent monitors, we don't call them because we don't want people to know who are the independent monitors. So the independent monitors will be monitoring whether what we are saying is actually the reality. So it's a process that I want to, first of all, when you say people, they're not supporting. When people are not fully informed, for them to make an informed decision is sometimes a difficult task that it become negative or positive.
Okay.
So at this point in time, we as communication specialists on this particular census,
Again,
on this-
our microphone.
on this census should actually take full responsibility for the late start of information. And also, we were doing it, but it was kind of like at a low pace based on all of the challenges. Now we are coming with boards, and then we're going to come out, do a vigorous stuff. But I'm saying that we still need to apologize to the general public that we had a hard start, but it's going to get better, and we are getting there. And at the end of this all, we have a quality data.
Okay, let me hear from you, Madam Andy. Very shortly, we'll be speaking with some of the county directors of legislature to tell us as to how the process is faring. But let me hear from you. I understand you've been contracted by legislatures. We understand that. And you'll be dealing with the community radio stations. And how are you going to overcome this, Madam Andy? Especially in the phase where some of the community radio stations do not have the appropriate documents, and monies that you'll be receiving will be from the international partners and some from government as well. How do you get, ensure that you are accountable and you get all of your necessary documents from those who are going to pay money to?
Well, first, let me just say here that I really want to stick to the communication issue and leave the financial issue to the technical team and the lawyer of Legis and Crusaders for Peace and the procurement directors and financial officers, because I think they have the responsibility to go into the modality that will be used in terms of payment if you don't have a legal document. And I think the primary concern is that there is a primary contractor that have all of the legal document and specification and expertise in managing donor funding. So I want to leave that with the finance and the procurement.
Okay,
people.
so since you want to leave that, just tell us this one. Maybe you can tell us in our ears what's the value of the contract.
Well, you see, I cannot explain
$1
value.
million or $1 billion?
When a proposal has been sent to an institution and the institution is accepting the proposal either through negotiation or non-negotiation, and it's a flat docket, it's a financial issue. And so every financial financial document have confidentiality clause. So I cannot sit on the radio based on Legis, UNFPA, the World Bank, and Crusaders for Peace memorandum of understanding and start to discuss financial issue based on the confidentiality clause. When it has been completely sent to me and is in my hand, and then I can now find the strategy to make sure that the liquidation and financial reporting system and everything go according to international standard, then it's my responsibility.
So what's your proposal?
My proposal is for us to tell the people to stand up and be counted. The enumerators are in the community. And then all of the mistakes that we made along the way, all of the mistakes that we have made along the way, we say, sorry, let's move forward. Let's make it everybody's business. Let's get involved. And if you are influencer, make sure that you come on board. And if you are a community radio station, be ready, tap to go, and all of those things that you are doing today. Soba, did you get money to do this? So it's our.
I'm hoping that before Julie goes, she can post something on.
No, it's our social responsibility.
Okay, let's hear from Dave. Yeah, Dave.
So, I just like to make this point. Madam Andy's engagement with the census is not just about money.
Surely.
Madam Andy has been an ardent, she's demonstrated over the years that she's an ardent patriarch who's ready to work with or without money. She's commenced the process, the meetings with stakeholders, calling stakeholders to the table. She began that process even before they started talking about contract.
Okay.
She started having her team ready, her mobile team ready, even before we started talking about contract. So this is not just about the dollar. This is about delivering for your country.
Surely.
She's emphasized that in all of our meetings, and so we're going to be looking forward to that. You know, her team will be. You're going to see visibility from this woman.
Okay.
I believe very well that she's going to do a very good job.
Okay, so let's to speak with the Legis director from Maryland, Eugene Nimble. Let's speak with him quickly. Mr. Nimble, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Hello.
Yes,
Okay, so where are we speaking to you from? Which part of Maryland?
I speak to me from Maryland, Harper City.
Okay, Harper City.
Yes, sir.
Now, so have you kicked off the process?
Yes, sir. I've done 100% deployment on Thursday.
Hmm.
In all of my 7 districts in Maryland County.
So you got.
All of our enumerators and supervisors are permanent working now.
Okay, so just give us statistics a bit. How many of the enumerators do you have in a district?
For the Plebo Sodican district, I have 154 enumerators. They are all working.
You said how many districts?
7.
Hello?
Right now for the census, we have 7 districts.
Okay, so you say in Plebo you got 100 plus. Okay,
154 enumerators.
okay. What's about the other districts?
In Roger, I have 9 enumerators. In Calway 1, I have 21 enumerators. In the 3,
Hello? 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 Oh, yes. Okay, good. Yes, go right ahead. Mr. Nimble. It seems we have to call him back.
Network.
Yes, the network. Okay, he said, well, he has done his 100% deployment in all of the districts, and we're hoping that we can get him back. You listen to the SMS. He's the let's just coordinator in Maryland County, Eugene Nimble. We're hoping to get him back on the line to just give us an idea as to how is the whole census process faring in that part of the country. We're trying to get him back, but if we can, maybe we can again connect with another director before. Mr. Nimble, welcome back.
yeah, thank you. We have a little challenge with the network issue here.
Okay. Yes, just run us through quickly.
So as I was saying, in Calway 1, we have 21 enumerators, and Calway 2 we have 33 enumerators. In Glapucan, there's a district called Glapucan here. We have 11. There's another district called Yonken. We have 11 enumerators, and Harper district have 108 enumerators covering the field. So that's a total of 343 enumerators plus 69 supervisors. So I have 416 staff working currently.
Now, what's the rationale to having a huge number in a district and a little number and a small number in another district? What's the rationale?
So we have enumeration areas. So based on the enumeration area, that's how we were able to come up with those numbers. Like in Clivo, they have 154 enumeration areas. It's a very big district.
Okay.
That's why some districts have more numbers and some have less numbers.
Okay. Now,
The next bigger district is the Harper district. That's why they have 108 enumerators currently working.
okay. So, what are your enumerators telling you? Because I'm sure you are not moving with them. Are people showing up?
Oh yes. The people are turning up. They are responsive. I was in the field yesterday, day before yesterday, and even Thursday. And I'll be going back to the Blabuke and the Woja this morning. I just came back from Kampala, Hungary.
Okay. So, as you speak, there's no challenge at all.
So now with the people, that now with the Liberian people, but we have small challenges that we can face. It's just the rain.
Okay. But you don't have ring gear? Let's just didn't give you ring gear?
We have rain gears, but the rain is too much. You cannot carry the tablets in your hand when the rain is falling. That's the problem.
Okay. Okay. Many thanks, Mr. Nimla. We wish you well.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. We hope to speak with the other director where he said all is going well. What's your reaction to your director?
So yes, so that sounds very good, and that has always been our hope that the Liberian people can respond to our enumerators as they come up. That's our message to them. Much has been said around the table that this census is all about development, right? So the development that we all long for to happen in Liberia starts now.
Okay.
Once you can avail yourself to our field staff and get counted, these developments that we so urgently need can get to us.
Okay. Now, Madam Judy Andy, you heard the religious director from Maryland. What's your reaction to what he said?
As a patriot, I have trust and confidence in our people, the Liberian people, resilient to be able to do what they do best. As you can see from COVID-19, Ebola, polio, and all that, I know what the Liberian people can do. Okay. I've been in those communities and in those villages. I know our people most of the time. If you really look at an urban and rural participation, what in our communication strategy, our focus should be really driven to the urban areas. It is very difficult to mobilize and communicate in the urban areas, especially when you have all these radio stations and all these television, and you got the community. The people are busy, bustling here, there, and yonder. But in our community, in our rural area, our people are very understanding. I think is based on the culture and all of that of our people. So we probably will get there. I'm very impressed with the guy from Maryland. Okay. I'm telling you, the guy from Maryland just made my spirit to say I need to work more. And I think that Kelvin, my supervisor in Maryland, is very happy. And then things are moving forward in Maryland.
Okay, so let's speak with the director in Grandia, who understand, Alfonso Glay. Alfonso, welcome.
Thank you, it's Alfonso Bay.
Okay, Alfonso Bay. Alfonso, give us an idea as to how is our counting process like?
Well, the counting process is going on smoothly. It's good. We have flogged one of our enumerators, the supervisor, and the district officer. They are all on the field now. 8 administrative districts.
8 administrative districts. So how many did you deploy in each of the districts?
Each of the districts are depending on the EA, that is the enumerator area. Chance district had the highest with 171 enumerators, followed by Kavala district, which is the 4th. Quindawa has 63. Biai has 37. Moplo has 15. Yotrawa has 16. Putu has 37. The total of 432 enumerators were deployed. with 92 supervisors and 8 district census officers.
Okay, so how are the people, the citizens, how are they responding to your enumerators?
They are cooperating very well. In fact, many of the chiefs have been calling, oh, we are waiting for your people. They are not reaching my town. They are not reaching my village. So we continue to encourage them, and it's a process. The enumerator first have to go for the building marking for that before you go to do the population enumeration. So it's a process considering the distance. Sometimes have got to enumerator will work 5 to 6 hours before getting to those villages and localities. So it will take a time.
So as you speak, there's no challenge at all.
Well, we have minor challenges, especially with supervision.
With supervision?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I mean, a supervisor had to go check on the enumerators now for 1 to 4 hours to get to a enumerator and go through as well and see that you don't complete. I had to walk to another locality. Considering Grand is a vast, Grand is the second biggest county by land in Liberia. So you must consider the distance that you walk. So that's the challenge that we see.
But generally, the process is on course.
It's on course.
Okay, many thanks, Mr. Wayne. We really appreciate your time this morning. Again, Mr. Minister, you heard the two religious directors, county directors from Maryland and Grand Junior. What's your reaction to it?
As I sat there, I was smiling, and it sounded very impressive that even though we had a very slow start to the census, but we are moving forward now. So when you listen to the guys on the ground, it gives you a feel of what's really happening. So our people have always been receptive. Our people have always been a part of the process. Liberians are resilient, as Madam Andy said, and they're going to support this kind of a national endeavor. So all across the country now, the process is ongoing, and we are hoping that we are able to get quality data, and we are able to carry on the development as a government and in the leeward counties, and so that our people, because this census, when national development, distribution begins, it's going to give a different face to national development after the census. For instance, we're going to know how many people Grand Junior County has been one of the counties which has always reported low numbers, and when the population there is huge, we know how many markets are there. When we know, all of these kinds of social development, business for business reasons, all of these surveys, the questions they're asking are very important for the national development. So
Okay.
I'm impressed by our directors from across the country.
Good. Let's take a few calls quickly. 0776-540-987, or better still, 0880-514-096. You are listening to Census Hour, this new program we launched on the state broadcaster. Today is the maiden edition. We'll be here again on Wednesday and Friday. So let's take a few calls quickly. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, sir. Let's hear from you quickly.
Thank you. My name is Abraham King, one of the enumerators working in Bone County, to be precise, to the rural end.
Okay.
Well, support this morning, I would say to you from my area of work, the process is ongoing, and people are responding to us in a positive way. It's not like where people, when we first started, some people will stay away from the process. But whatever the case could be, we were able to use our own ideas on them. We were able to talk to them, so they are responding to the process. But the problem here is that some of the challenges we are faced with, with our work to the rural end, we have like 5 to 1,500 distance, leaving from the place to get back to the nearer areas and be able to charge our rural data for the rest of the work. So, and moreover, some of us who are working here also, we were not able to receive the 25% in our kitchen feed, our better on permit by legislature to take home.
Okay.
I think we are in the field doing the work.
Okay, many thanks. We really appreciate you. We really appreciate your national duty. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Yes, sir.
Good day, Professor Abubakar.
Yeah.
We can put that power here for you.
Uh-huh. Oh, they just counted on. They counted you yesterday.
Yes, to our all.
Okay, where so?
58.
Okay, okay. Thank you, Mama. At least they counted you. Let's take this call on the line. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. My name is Milton Jai, and I do join you from Senator James B. Banning office here in Spiritu, Maryland County.
Mm-hmm.
I want to appreciate the few guests. It's really big, and that though this census issue is super new, but I want to appreciate national government and other partners who have made it possible and finally the process has begun. Though there are some gaps still, according to Gestino, there are other countries they are still doing development. But I want to urge the administrators to be very swift in administering the affairs of this census process. Let it be without fraud, because anything that is done fraudulently, it is not done at all, and it has to be weak, and it will cost a lot of resources. Thank you very much.
Many thanks, also. Let's take this call on the line. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Brother. This is Brother Jacob David Blackman. I call from Brambato County.
Mm-hmm.
It is a full on a last plantation. By the grace of God, we were counted yesterday in my town that has the division 2 full in camp. The team was there yesterday, they counted us and the past. They are doing our work. So I just want to applaud the government. All citizens that we should pay in, because a lot of people they are saying when you see the people the first second day mean that they will not be counted in the process. We try to tell that it's 8-day process. So we carry them that they can pay it so that they can be counted. People are only see they are doing our work.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, many thanks. Let's take this call on the line. Good morning.
Hello?
Yes, good morning.
Yeah, how you doing?
Yes.
I'm Lucio is delivering for LCI from City.
Okay.
Yes, maintaining today all sense of business because you know we are approaching election gradually. Sooner or later we'll be running to the ballot box, catching all our vote, and we got to know the fixed amount of people living in the country now before we can conduct the election. And also now you're doing not seeing any movement here for the government. So we hope that things will be found in the upcoming months.
Okay, you made your point already. Let's take this other call on the line. Good morning.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I'm Daniel calling from Maryland County Food District.
Mm.
I want to say thank you to the program this month. And also for the center that I want to thank the partners in the country and also our local government. The citizen of the country need to be counted. And after the census, we want to know the total number that is in the country.
Okay.
So we appreciate the idea of our government
Okay.
work along with the people that doing the census.
Okay. Many thanks. Many thanks. Let me take the last caller. Good morning. Good morning.
First of all,
Yes, sir. Good morning. Let's hear from you.
yes, this is Matthew Akwa from Fine. Thank you, EMBC, thank you for the program. I think this program will help to alleviate the problem that the people going through here, particularly in the county. It will be also good to something we will talk to all of the lawmakers to report them for who we need to have the problem. So, the stage of the center where it was producing, but now, I think it's on plan. The creative center county here, we see them out there, and most of the records are all in place in our county.
Okay.
That we have our command so that they are in all the report of the all the people to report in the dialect to other people. Because some of the people are going will say, the people come out with it, they say, hey, I'll be well, I got walking. Well, I got TV. Well, I'm walking TV. They don't want to get right because they see I'm moving that the people will not be well. We're not breaking them, sometimes we tell them, we're not breaking them, but they want to know all these things so that they can be informed. Because that will come, the one process. The legislature will come. The people legislature is very much important. So
Okay.
they put the information out, they act it.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Let's hear from our studio guests, their parting comment, responses, and parting comment, and then we call it a quit. Let me begin with Madam Judy Andy. He's actually with the religious people. Okay, Madam, just
Okay, so yes, so I would like to say that I'm very much grateful to our people, getting the news that is coming up this morning, that they are being receptive to our field staff. I think it's a good start. They should continue and be patient, right? As we often say that this census is not an event, it is a process. And gradually we are going to get to all of the homes, because that's what we are opting for, to enumerate or to count the entire population of Liberia. And so just a quick one concerning those questions that are being asked. They are even going to ask questions about your house, right? The kind of house. They're even going to find out as to whether you are living in zinc house, whether that's cement, whether that's mud. All of those questions are going to be asked. The reason is because we want to know where you are living and how you are living, right? So all of this information needs to come out, and the data is so rich. Can you imagine if everyone will cooperate and answer those questions correctly? We are going to get good data for policymakers.
okay.
Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Minister.
Thank you, Saba, and thank you to our listeners. I think from the callers and from the field staff, the directors in the counties, it tells you that the census is on course. From the communication standpoint, from the Ministry of Information standpoint, we are going to continue to work with the Liberia Crusaders for Peace, supporting their mobilization, supporting their engagement with the communities. We are going to work with Legis Communications team, to work with talk show hosts, to work with social influencers, to work with community radio stations, to work with national radio stations. So all of our work with these stakeholders, these key stakeholders, is in sync, and we are going to do it, and to ensure that the census is a resounding success.
Okay. Yes, Madam Andy.
Well, mine is just to say thank you to the general public, to the Liberian people. Forgive us. We are ready. We are there. We are coming. And to also thank the DG, the Acting Director General, Honorable Lawrence George, for his leadership, and to the UNFPA for all of the international support, to the World Bank, to the Minister of Finance, the Minister of Information, the Internal Affairs Minister, the Mayor of the City of Monrovia, Chief Zanzan Kawa, the Imam Krayi, Reverend Toh, Christopher Toh from the Council of Churches, Women Group, Bernice from Webnet, and all of the Muslim women, and all the meeting that we're having, the Musicians Union. Get on the roll, let's move forward. To Sober George, we are coming, and to all the media practitioners, we say thank you. But something touched my heart, and I want to say.
Okay.
When I walked in, I came 30 minutes early to our time.
Sure.
I heard you on the radio talking about the PUL. And the PUL is the nerve center of Liberia. So I plead, for God's mercy, that the PUL will find a way that peace reign, because we're depending on them to hold this country. So please, my heart goes to the PL. I hope that we can be able to talk, engage, and move forward. God bless you.
Well, many thanks, Madam Judy Andy. You also heard Justina from LISJS, Communication Person, and the Assistant Minister for Technical Services at MACAT, Mr. David B. Cole. Well, they've been on the mini edition of Census Hour. This program comes on again on Wednesday. On behalf of the entire team, Anthony Williams and his cameral team, my indefatigable producer, Melvin Stewart, Saba George is my name. Join us, God willing. That's tomorrow. We'll be back. Until